All right, I just got out of watching the Odyssey, and this is what movies are meant to be. This is what movies are created for. To drag you into a world visually, sonically. I'm shocked at how beautiful, detailed Christopher Nolan was able to bring the Odyssey to life. The music, even though it wasn't a crazy score in terms of like an level of Interstellar, it fits the movie so well. It brings so much tension as soon as you hear certain notes throughout the film. The acting isn't like off the charts insane, especially the writing in particular, but all the performances are great to fantastic. Tom Holland's performance is incredible. Anne Hathaway's incredible. Matt Damon's obviously incredible. They're the main trio, for God's sakes. I would hope so. There was 3 parts of this movie, 3 moments where I was just like, this is what movies are meant to do, to move you. I don't understand how Christopher Nolan was able to bring these things to life. I don't get it. And it's the tangibility. That's the perfect way to describe it. It's so tangible. There was one scene in particular, I'm not gonna get too crazy into it, but there was one scene in particular. All I say is that there was a boat and there was thunder, and that sequence, that whole section is what pushed me over the edge of this is incredible, because it just felt so tangible. Like I felt like I was there next to the camera. I nearly cried 3 times from just pure the feeling of being overwhelmed. I really wanted to get up the popcorn tin, the horse, but I'm not trying to do all that, to be completely honest. Like it is what it is. The game's a game. I'm saving my money for Spider-Man Brand New Day because I'm gonna probably buy every single thing I can. I had to get a drink after. I was dying. 2 hours and 52 minutes. There's nothing bad about this movie. Everything is, at the very, very least, great. Great to fantastic. Well, I guess great, fantastic, peak. So the minimum is fantastic. And the only thing that I can see people having an issue with is some of the writing choices. Not in terms of not in terms of the decisions, but the actual script itself. It felt like some moments felt like the dialogue was a little too modern, but that's not really that big of a deal. It's a modernized version of the Odyssey, so I'm not too crazy about that. Like it didn't pull me out of the film. But everything, and when I say everything, I mean everything, was so detailed, so picture perfect, that any single frame from this movie is the best frame in any other movie. I have never seen a movie like the Odyssey. Never seen a movie like the Odyssey. And I don't think I ever will. Granted, will I like Spider-Man Brand New Day more? Probably, because I'm a super fan and I'm a little crazy when it comes to Spider-Man and Marvel heroes in general and all that. But from a movie, and I love Greek mythology so much, Percy Jackson's my shit. It's funny that I actually just finished watching season 2 of Percy Jackson and the Olympians going into this. That's my biggest thing, is that this grand world, this legitimate odyssey of a man defying the gods, going against the gods, dealing with these struggles that Odysseus deals with across his decades long of a journey. And it all feels real. It all feels like it could have happened. It all feels like it did happen because of the way that it's shot. I need to look. I don't know the names of everything right now because I was just like, I felt like I was put into infinite void. Like Gojo popped his domain on me, and I got loads of information in 0.3 seconds, and I'm brain dead with the way that I felt walking out of that movie. That the island with the giants. How the hell did he do that? Chasing him, and then the tree started shifting, and then oh my god, the magic with, oh my god, wait, I'm going into spoilers. Shit, spoilers? Yeah, bro. There's people that don't know about the Odyssey, like the actual story of it. Yeah, that's spoilers. I'm gonna just half of this video is noises because I just can't. I can't. I think that's enough. Go watch this movie. I don't care if you've never read it, if you don't know anything about the Odyssey, which I doubt. See this movie. See this movie. So, rating the Odyssey, I'm giving it a super solid 10. There's some things that I can nitpick, which we'll get into, but this movie was perfection to me. Like, it was perfect. As a fan of the story, as a fan of Greek mythology in general, the mythos, there is absolutely nothing that I would change about this experience. This is gonna be more spoilery. Hopefully it's a longer video than me rambling for 7.5 minutes, which actually is probably gonna be like 5 after I edit it. But let me just get literally the elephant in the room out of the way. Christopher Nolan is an insane man. He is insane for what he does, how he does it. I have no idea, but this man's brain needs to be studied, because I don't know how I'm gonna say it again, how he pulled off the shit that he pulled off in this movie, man. The Cyclops was terrifying. The Cyclops was so scary. Felt like I could reach out and grab the Cyclops. I felt like I could feel and I could see the flames in Troy when they were burning. I felt like, I can't remember the name right now, but I felt like when they were in that forest with those giants, I felt like I was there in that forest. I felt like I was trapped in between the moving trees and getting hunted. When they were in the farm with Cersei, I felt my face as if I was getting transformed into an animal. That scene alone, that thing, the whole back and forth, them literally pigging out, and Matt going out to hunt the deer or the doe, and then it constantly going back and forth between that and him and them in the shack with him out hunting, to lead to the point where we find out what exactly is going on, is insane, bro. And the metamorphosis, I don't know how to describe it besides just saying that word, was unlike anything I've ever seen in a movie. And I don't know if it could ever or will ever be like that level of body horror. Is something that is unreal. That was one of the moments where I was like, holy shit, this is tangible, this is real. I believe what I'm watching on screen right now. And another moment that was like that was like probably the second moment or the second or third moment where I felt like that, was when they were on the boat after the men ate Apollo's flock, and we get the moment where it's like, you have pissed off the gods from below and from the sky. They had to face the wrath of Poseidon and Zeus because of how Odysseus is. His aura, bro. His aura. A man who doesn't fear the gods, but yet had to go through every trial and tribulation because every man around him that he led gave in to every single one of their desires, causing all of them to die because he was the one defying the gods. He was leading them to defy them. They all took the punishment. They all took the brunt of the force of the gods, of the retribution, because they could not control themselves and control their own actual animalistic desires, which is what Cersei was saying, which is what they all fell victim to in the end. When they were the constant back and forth between the camera of the specific camera shots on the boat, like that were latched on with the rain and the thunder, I felt like I was there. I felt the panic, and the way that they brought in the music intertwined with it. Ludwig is a freaking genius. I couldn't believe it. Even now, I can't believe what I witnessed. Like, it brought everything to life in such a real way, in a way that only Christopher Nolan would have been able to do. Because that Cyclops, that's a puppet. Had to have been. That shit would have been CG with anybody else, or terrible CGI. Hold up. The Battle of Troy was fantastic. The armor, the aura of the armor with the gold. Every time he was on screen, his presence alone, from not saying a word, just his presence was incredible. And even then, in the end, he fell victim to his desires. The sound design was unlike... let me not glaze it too much. The sound design was incredible, but it wasn't like, insane. Like, it worked so well that when everything else is working at the level that everything was, it elevates the experience, and that makes it feel so much better when you first come out of the theater. Now, I didn't save my score in the non-spoiler review. I'll save it for a TikTok or whatever. Let's move on to the performances. The performances, every single performance was great. Travis Scott's little fucking thing with it being the bard and all that, playing the one that tells the journey of Odysseus, was great. I liked it. It was cool to have him there. I'm not hating it. It didn't seem out of place. The fact that he was the first person you saw was a little crazy. Jon Bernthal did his thing. Lupita, give her flowers. She was incredible, honestly. With the short amount of time that she had, she absolutely killed it, and she did exactly what she needed to do, and she got up out of there. Lupita, incredible. John, incredible. Obviously, Damon, Anne, Tom Holland, Robert Pattinson, Elliot Page. There is not one wasted performance here. Every single one does what they were given to do, and does it extremely well. Especially Tom Holland. Because we already know the caliber of actor Matt Damon is. This isn't his best performance ever. We know Matt Damon, right? Anne Hathaway, once again, fantastic performance. One of her better ones, for sure. But it's Anne Hathaway. We knew that she was going to give a great performance. Tom Holland pleasantly surprised me. And this is a little like segue into like Spider-Man Brand New Day, but I'm glad that Tom had this experience and was able to do what he needed to do. Like, did what he did, because now it's going to make him a better actor without a shadow of a doubt, because his inflections and his expressions were fantastic. Speaking of expressions, Robert Pattinson, what a year. What a last few years and years coming up with Dune and all that Robert Pattinson has been having, bro. He is incredible. His micro expressions are on point. His voice, I don't know how he does what he does with the throat pause, but that man makes no sense. He needs to be studied also. Zendaya really didn't do much. I will say I really liked the way that they like revealed the fact that, because obviously the gods come to you in the Greek mythology and all that, they come to you the way that you perceive them. Like, it's your perception of them that lets you see them as you think about them. For Athena, to the embodiment of Athena, for Athena to be speaking to Odysseus through the final girl that he saw get murdered and slaughtered at the Battle of Troy, when his faith was already wavering, in front, or at the same time Athena's statue is being cut down. Incredible. They really didn't do like much in terms of acting, but like, she was able to work as a compass for Damon, and she still delivered a good performance for that. Anne Hathaway, the way that she painted, or the way that she portrayed having that internal struggle, that internal dialogue of he really isn't coming back, and the moment when she snaps in the palace was amazing also. She finally realized, like, this is really never gonna end, and it's over. Like, it's never gonna end in terms of her turmoil, but it's over in the sense that she has to give up on keeping hope for Odysseus. And that whole section, from that moment when Tom gets back, and from there until the end, it's just emotional beat after emotional beat. When he comes back and he pets the dog, and the dog wags its tail and finally passes away, and then Tom realizes that it's Odysseus. That part really got me, man. It really got me. I started tearing up. Obviously, knowing, like, I went in there knowing all of this was gonna happen. But the way that it was portrayed, and at that point already, towards the end of the movie, I was just like so overwhelmed with holy shit, they did it, that was kind of like the straw that broke the camel's back, and it was almost over for me. I've heard in quick clips and stuff that people were complaining about like a certain section that was slower. I think I know what section it is, which is maybe the sequence just before the Cersei cabin, or just after. Because I honestly don't even know if that was the middle point of the movie, but it seemed to be the middle point of the movie, or towards the middle of the journey. Oh, I didn't feel like anything was dragging. I felt like everything flowed in really well. A small nitpick is that some of the scenes cut too quick in between one another, or back and forth. Specifically, when John Bernthal is telling Tom Holland about Odysseus and everything that happened with his brother, I feel like, which could be on purpose, it cut too quick from one scene to another, back and forth, as he was telling the story versus as we were seeing it for the first time. And it was jarring, but it probably was on purpose to emphasize it. But it did feel weird regardless, even if that was the intention. Other nitpicks, I mean, I mentioned this, I don't know if I said it here yet, but I mentioned in the non-spoiler ramble that I had, the initial thoughts. The writing itself felt like it was too modern in certain instances, like the dialogue, not the overall writing itself. Like, I know people were pointing out the fact that, even Tom Holland mentioned it, that he says dad instead of father or anything like that. It wasn't really that, but it was like, I think it was some inflections with the way that like certain things were said, that it made me feel like that seems a little too modernized. But that's like such a small nitpick, and it nothing that I'm gonna say as a bad thing pulled me out of the film, just for reference. It was just something I noticed, but none of it was bad for me to be like, oh, that's a very weird decision, why would they do that? That was one thing. Another thing, the music was fantastic. I absolutely adored the themes that we got, with like when he strung the bow and it played the harp chord, when the drum pattern was coming on, obviously when the classic like beating of the staff or the stick or the sword on the floor, like as a marching thing, is a classic thing that they do whenever there's like soldiers around and things like that. All that was great. I do feel like it was missing like the score, and by what I mean by the score is something that stands out, so that whenever you hear it again, you're like, that's from there, that's from the Odyssey. Obviously, for the first few weeks, people are going to be able to do that, but you hear the first note of Cornfield Chase from Interstellar, and you know what's going down. Something like that. I feel like that is the only thing that was missing from the Odyssey. And even then, that's such a small nitpick, because the music itself was top notch, was something that fit so perfectly with the mythos of the world, and tying it like sonically into what you're seeing visually, that it's something that I don't even have a huge problem with. It was just something, once again, like with the writing, that I noticed. And like, I say all that to say, this movie was fantastic.